guys, how's it going? I'm Cindy from PhoneDoc.com, and this is the Sanyo Innuendo from Sprint. It's a messaging phone, has a style similar to what we see on the LG Rumor Touch or the NV3, and then it has this kind of basic front panel that's mostly used for just basic functions, but then you open it up, you have a beautiful color screen, full QWERTY keyboard, you also have this D-pad here, and on the back, a 3-megapixel camera. So on paper, it sounds great, and I've been testing it for about a week now, and it really is a great phone. A lot of people, when they first see it, they're like, it's made by Sanyo, or, it's just a basic cheap phone, or, maybe it doesn't look that great. But really, I can tell you after testing it, it is a great phone. It performs very well. It's not as big as people think it is, and it looks very stylish whenever you're using it. Basically, it's just an all-around great phone, and I know that sounds kind of abstract now. Whenever we get into the review, I'll go into more detail and show you the pros and the cons. But basically, I'm saying, don't write it off just because initially it might not seem like a great phone, because it really is. And so we're going to get into it and give you guys a full review. But it's the Sanyo Innuendo from Sprint. I'm Sydney from PhoneDoc.com. Let's go check it out. Okay, so again, it is the Sanyo Innuendo from Sprint, and I apologize in advance for my reflection being all over in this video. It's just one of the hazards of this screen being as reflective as it is. But you can see this front panel here is a touch-sensitive dialing pad, and so these aren't actual buttons, obviously. They're just touch-sensitive. The display is touch-sensitive. This is a 1.3-inch screen. It's just a monochrome OLED screen, so it's no color. Mostly, this is just used for dialing. You can see your contacts, see brief any text messages, but mostly you'll just be using this for dialing. And then you have this main display here. It's the internal display. This is a 2.8-inch LCD display, and it's actually beautiful. Even though it's just a basic LCD display, the colors show up very well. It just looks like a beautiful display. And then you have two soft buttons here that you'll use for navigation, then of course the D-pad. And so this is what you'll use to go through. It does feature Sprint's one-click interface, so you're given this carousel, and you can use your D-pad to switch to the shortcuts, different items. Now you can customize this carousel, so you can add different shortcuts or remove shortcuts. But you can see some of the options here. You have Twitter, Facebook, Google search, navigation, you saw messages, and then here is where you can personalize. So you can see you can personalize the carousel, add a title, or remove any of them, and then of course changing the screensaver or the ringtone. One tab that I really like is the messaging tab, because not only can you get text messages with this shortcut, but you can see you also have emails. And so I currently have 2 email accounts linked to this phone, and so this for emails that actually includes both accounts. And so it's kind of nice that it just pulls it all right to this shortcut. Of course, you're going to have to pay for data, but in the sense of functionality, I think it performs very well. Sprint's one-click interface is really growing on me. At first, I didn't really like it. There were some just certain design features that, I wasn't really so hot on, but I've kind of gotten used to it, and it's become something that's really enjoyable to use, because it puts everything that you want, right there on the main screen. Not just with like a couple of shortcuts or 2 or 3 widgets, but really everything you'd need is right here. Now, getting onto the physical QWERTY keyboard, it is a great keyboard, but I will say that it will take just a little bit of time to get used to, because you have this D-pad. You're going to have to reach over a little bit farther, and so that means that some buttons, whereas a normal keyboard, you're used to be able to say, maybe reaching the R or the T or the E with your thumb, you're going to have to instead use your left thumb for that. And so it may not seem like a big deal, and it's really not, because it's really easy to get used to. But I will say, I kind of had to type on it and then find a new rhythm, find a new way to type, because I was used to my old rhythm of each letter, each thumb going to each letter. So, but it is a great keyboard. You can see the keys are are raised just a little bit. They are kind of plasticky. You know, they're not the grippy kind that you see on a lot of Samsung messaging phones these days. So they're a little bit more plasticky, but they weren't slippery at all. I really don't like those keyboards that, you know, the keys are just that hard plastic and my fingers are slipping all over the place. Really easy to use. And then I like that you have short dedicated keys for your period, question mark, at, and then you have a dedicated emoticon key, and so then you have a number row right here. You know, not a big deal that you don't have a dedicated number row because, again, you have the front panel for dialing. And so I definitely really like the keyboard. Then you can see you do have shortcuts for texting, and then going to speakerphone, the camera, and power, as well as talk. And so, you know, overall, I think the keyboard is great. Now, I talked about the camera. It does have a 3 megapixel camera, actually a 3.2 megapixel camera. Now, there's no, you know, flash, obviously, no autofocus. So just a little bit of a bummer, but really, you know, I'm just happy to see a 3 megapixel camera because, you know, it's nice to see in a world where a lot of messaging phones these days are just given, you know, 2 megapixel cameras or, you know, 1.3 megapixel cameras. And it performed very well too. I think the camera was great. One problem that I did have is that you have to have the phone open in order to use the camera. The dedicated camera button is right here. If you hold it down, it'll go to the camera. So you can see it's loaded. And if you close it, the camera obviously closes as well. So a little bit of a bummer, you know, it kind of seems a little awkward to have this, you know, huge phone open when you just want to take a picture. And then another thing that I had a problem with is that, you know, so you need this, you know, within eyesight so you can see, you know, what you're going to take a picture of. And then the camera is right here. So, you know, naturally you may want to hold it like this. The only problem is you're going to cover up the camera. So, you know, I kind of had to find sort of a special way to hold it. I think I ended up just holding it like this. But even then, you know, this finger sometimes would creep up and get in the way of the lens. So camera placement was a little bit of an issue. But, you know, it wasn't too much of a problem. I think it's something that you could find a way to work around, but it is a little bit annoying that it is kind of, you know, something that you do have to work around. But overall, the camera itself was great. Now, back to the back of the device here. This is the battery cover. It has an 860 milliamp hour battery, and whenever I, you know, first read that and when I did the unboxing and I first saw that, I was kind of a little disappointed because 860, you know, that's really, it seemed really underpowered to me, especially considering everything that this phone can do. A lot of just basic feature phones, you know, they may have 800, 900 milliamp hour batteries, but, you know, for a phone that's, you know, kind of more of a high-end messaging phone, I definitely thought, you know, you would need a bigger battery than that, but I turned out to be wrong. The battery life was great. On standby, it lasted about a week, and then with use, it lasted about 3 days. And so, which is typical of what you'll get, you know, from any other messaging phone. And so, with a small battery like this, it really does have excellent battery life. Underneath the battery, it does have a micro SD card slot, and the phone actually ships with a 1 gigabyte card, which is pretty rare, pretty impressive for a messaging phone. And then the phone can support up to 32 gigs with a micro SD card. So that's definitely nice, you know, considering that it is great for multimedia, you know, for music. It is nice that you can have expandable memory with the phone. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's the Sanyo Innuendo from Sprint, and overall, I love it. I think this is a great messaging phone. It's really fun and cool. It looks great. You know, a lot of people said that it looks like a huge device, but, you know, it's really not. It feels very solid in the hand. It's not very big at all. The screen is beautiful. Texting, you know, it's a great device for doing a lot of texting. You know, overall, there were a few things like, you know, the 2.5mm headphone jack. Camera placement was a little bit awkward, but overall, it was a great phone to use, and I would definitely recommend it for anyone that's on Sprint looking for a solid messaging device. And you can get it right now from Sprint. It comes only in this one color, And so, maybe hopefully in the future they'll come out with a couple of different colors. But for now, just the blue only. So anyway, there it is, guys. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. And be sure and go to phonedog.com, because even though we have a lot of videos and reviews on our YouTube channel, we have a lot more news and exclusive content on phonedog.com. And also you can check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/phonedog for more exclusive content. If you have any questions about this phone, you can send me a message on Twitter. It's My Job to Know is my Twitter screen name. And then, of course, on our Facebook page, every Friday, we have live chats with you guys. So you can come and join us. You can live chat with me and ask any questions that you may have. So, and again, thanks, guys, for watching. I'm Sanyo from phonedog.com, and I'll see you guys later.